Welcome to the breath management lesson. Breath management is the ability to control and manage your inhalations and exhalations during singing. Breathing for singing is not the same as breathing for living or speaking. We need to be able to have enough breath in our lungs to sustain high notes, long notes, carry over long passages, jump wide pitch intervals, sing slow or fast lyrics. In singing, the inhalation is just as important as control of the exhalation. Here are some indications of poor breath management in singing. Rising shoulders, high chest breaths, running out of breath in the middle of a phrase or a word, the inability to sustain a note for any length of time, a very breathy tone, audible breathing via mouth or nose, gasping and snatching breaths, breathlessness, rigidity anywhere in the chest, back, abdomen, sides, any kind of bulging at the throat or neck muscle tension, and another good indicator is getting red in the face by the end of the song. The kind of breath we need to take to prepare for singing is going to be deeper than our usual day-to-day normal activity breathing. We want to be able to fill up the lungs right to the bottom with good air. In order to ensure that there is enough room for the oxygen, we need to get rid of the carbon dioxide first. So start by getting into the habit of making sure your lungs are fully empty before you take a breath. If you haven't got rid of all the CO2 from your lungs, it will sit in the alveoli taking up space that the O2 should be using. The alveoli are little sacs where the oxygen exchange happens between the lungs and the blood. So in the first exercise, we're going to look at taking in a good breath. First of all, exhale all your air. Then bring the top of one hand to your lips. Place the other hand on your upper abdomen. And with your larynx in a slight yawn position, suck in the air through your mouth and against the skin of your hand. It should make a sucking noise. Make sure the tongue is at the base of the mouth in a relaxed position. You should immediately notice that the upper abdominal area and the ribs expand greatly. You should also feel your back expand as air is brought deep into the lungs. And you may want to try that once with your hand on your tummy and once with your hand on your back. And here's Sheena demonstrating this. It is the resistance against the hand as the air is inhaled that makes everything expand in this way. This kind of inhalation is sometimes called low abdominal breathing, often taught in yoga. The muscles in your abdominal area, sides and back need to be relaxed when you're breathing for singing. Sometimes this is difficult for dancers and those with very well developed six-packs. Next time you're lying back relaxing or when you do a big sigh, place your hand on the upper part of your abdominal area and notice how your tummy goes in and out. Also feel your sides and back expand. This is how you should inhale air for singing. Exhalation. Well, the secret to great breath management in singing comes from the singer's control over their exhalation. There are many exercises that can help you control and expand your exhalation, but following are a few just to get you started. Exercise 2, the resistant S exercise. Taking a good inhale, form a S sound. As you exhale, make sure that there is more resistance than air loss, so we want to hear a nice S rather than a S. Time how long you can make that S last for. The aim is to eventually get to at least 40 seconds. It may take a few weeks to build up to this point if you're not used to doing this. Some top tips. Place your hands on your sides and make sure your ribs are coming in and descending towards your pelvis as you exhale on the sound. Your rib cage should not be kept retracted. That means held out. It needs to be going inwards and downwards all the way through the exhale. Also check in with your back and abdomen to make sure that they are expanding on the inhale and then deflating inwards as you exhale. Here is Sheena doing the resistant S exercise, first of all under a normal breath and then the second time taking a good deep inhale. See what happens with her time when she makes that change.
1978. (2102).
The extended count exercise. Take a good inhale. At a metronome speed of around 80 BPM, start counting from 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Make a note of what number you get to before running out of breath. Once again, make sure that your back, abdomen, and sides are deflating at a steady rate as you exhale on the count. The aim is to extend your count over a period of time. Practice this a few times each day. I anticipate that over a period of a few weeks you will start to notice you can count higher every day. Once you've reached a count of somewhere between 35 and 40, you may want to drop the speed of the BPM to somewhere around 60 and see how far you can get. Exercise 4 is counting over a scale. So you're going to count continuously over a loop scale until you run out of breath. For example, an octave arpeggio scale with a count 1 to 6 on a loop. Once you run out of breath, take a relaxed low abdominal breath and then continue up a semitone or a half step to the next key. Repeat until you reach the end of your range and then descend back to the key you started in. Over time you will notice your loops get longer. Here are a few top tips to watch out for as you do this exercise. Focus on creating an ebb and flow with your breathing. Make sure that you're not forcing your breath out at the end. It is far better to stop when the body says it's ready to take a breath. Don't force an inhale either. Your mouth should simply drop open and let the body draw the air in. Here's Sheena demonstrating this exercise.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3.
Another option is to do the same looped scale, but this time you add a sound to it. So instead of counting, you substitute the number with a sound like ba or go or ni. It's usually best to use a consonant plus a vowel rather than just an open vowel because this is a lot harder. Here's Sheena demonstrating first of all a lip trill looped and then the sound ba looped. Other options, you can change the sounds as you loop around the scale. So you could start with B, and then as you get back down to the bottom of the scale, you change to bay, bear, burr, bo, boo. It doesn't really matter the order, it's just that you're changing the sound and we're getting much closer to the concept of actually singing different words. You could change the consonant and do gi, gay, ge, ger, go, gu. You can obviously change the order of the vowels. Then of course you could change the scales. You could do a broken arpeggio on a loop or the long scale on a loop. You'll notice that with consonants such as f and sh and s and h, there'll be a lot more air loss, and so it will be a little bit more challenging to keep that loop going as long as you can with more closed consonants such as b and g and d. And also with open vowels, it may not be as easy because there's nothing to stop the airflow. So I suggest that you experiment with this, as I often suggest with any of these exercises, and find the ones that are challenging, and they're the ones that you need to be working on. And also, don't forget, if you're finding it difficult on one sound, say for instance a f, then try a similar sound like a v and see if that helps. And if the v is still too airy, then you might go for a b. See if you can figure out which consonants have more airflow and which ones have less but are related. You're looking for the consonants that are done in the same area, whether it's the lips or the middle of the mouth or at the back. It may take a little time to get this all in order, but I'm sure that the benefits when you're actually singing the song will far outweigh the need to do the work. So beyond singing, swimming, yoga, cardio exercises and strengthening and conditioning are really useful ways to increase lung capacity and improve breathing technique. If you are going to be moving a lot on stage, then you need to make sure you are building up your physical as well as your vocal stamina. Artists who dance a lot in their shows, such as Beyoncé or Justin Timberlake, always get physically and vocally fit before touring. So that's it for the breathing warm-up. I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.